Hi there, my name is Zach Bridges and I teach Tuba and Euphonium at the Shenandoah Conservatory. You've just heard my interpretation of this year's All Virginia Audition Etude, and I'd like to offer a couple hints for how to work on it. The first thing that I would recommend would be to break this into small sections so that you can work on it easy. For me, I broke this into 3 sections. My first section would be from measures 1 through 7, and then measures 8 through 11, and then finally measure 12 through the end. You can think of measure 19 as a little tag ending if you'd like. But 3 basic sections, they don't have to be, they're not necessarily very clear cut, but at minimum, I would break it into smaller sections just to help you practice. Make sure you do a lot of slow practice on this. I'd recommend half tempo practice, setting the metronome very slowly. Instead of quarter note equals 80, I'd try 8th note. Very opening might sound something like this. And so on and so forth. There's some high sections in measure 4. We have that A on the top of the staff. In measure 17, we have the B flat above the bass clef staff. It would be a good idea to play those down the octave if you're having trouble with working on those. Buzzing them, playing with the piano and buzzing them would also help, just to get those pitches in your ear before you play them. For the different tempi, working on this, I would also, just like you broke this piece into sections to work on it, I would recommend setting your metronome. Once you have most of this etude under your fingers, I would set a metronome for each section of the piece. The beginning's 80, and sing along. Buddy buddy bum bum, buddy da dee da dum bum, ba da dee da dee da be da be ba bum. Again, just to make sure that your ear, you know exactly where each one of those sections starts. 69 at measure 12. Ba ba bum beam bum 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 beam. Okay, and then we have 92 at measure 17. Bum ba bum ba bum be bum ba bum. Again, just making sure that you have each one of those different tempos in your ear. The nice thing about this is that you have a rallentando going into measure 8, and you have a retard going into measure 12. So those don't have to be particularly metronomic, as long as you make sure that the next downbeat, the next section is in the correct tempo. A little trick that I'd recommend for measure 12, where we're starting at 69. So measure 12 is again at 69, starting here. And then we have accelerando poco a poco. So that basically means accelerating little by little. So if I'm starting at 69, and then my goal tempo is 80, I'd recommend practicing some kind of transition. For me, I like to think of measure 13 as really my transition. If I can get measure 12 pretty clearly, roughly in tempo, then all of the subdivided eighth notes and syncopated eighth notes in measure 13 will be easier. That should help you an idea. Practice that a few times. Make sure that you've got that under your fingers. So again, I'd recommend breaking this into smaller sections, practicing it very slowly so that you get correct rhythms and octaves and things like that. And then third, make sure that you practice each one of the individual tempos, especially with the metronome, and then practice the transitions in between. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or anything that I can help with, and happy practicing.